you can do anything to the engine. You can run lightweight carbon wheels or Mercasini wheels. And pretty much it's pretty much it. You can lighten the bike and you can give it a shitload of horsepower, but to be honest, we've done nothing except carbon wheels and a little touch up with the motor, but it's seriously, it's made hardly much difference. So it's just, we're riding good.
All right, well done. Congratulations. Back to the racing at trackside. Here we go.
All right, here we are with F3 action, brought to you by Bike Talk in Tamaranui, and fantastic start again from Ben Rosendale off the front row of the grid. So that's an SV650 Pro Twin, but the 45 of Lee Tidman, he'll be looking to try and get himself in front. They've got SJ Cavell in there. He's on an SV650 Pro Twin as well. He's in the bright yellow Puline Oils Suzuki there in third place. So it's on here. We've got Xavier Dennis. He finished on the podium in race 1 yesterday, all the way from France. He's brought a Kawasaki twin-cylinder 650 over as well. So we've got single-cylinder machines, you've got twins, you've got four-cylinder machines as well. So we've got all sorts of bikes out there. F3 action, and this is a 10-lapper with 42 entries in this class. It's going to be absolutely magic. You've got your Supersport 300 riders in there. We've got Pro Twins and full spec F3 bikes as well. So it is Ben Rosendale and Lee Tidman 1 and 2 at the moment. So we'll just have a look down that back straight and see who's going to lead them into the flip-flop. Looks like it might be already the number 45, that little RS125 frame. The 45 of Lee Tidman leads into the flip-flop. Ben Rosendale there in second place and SJ Cavell in third. So it's all on here, Spider, and this is going to be a good 10-lapper.
Oh, I guess this is Lee Tidman's local track there. He just lives in Tamaranui, which you can almost see if there wasn't big rain clouds in the way. So his local track, he sat out the season, I think, a couple of years ago with an injury. I think he's had lap records here. What's the lap record in the Formula 3 class? Nathaniel Diprose. We're not going to get close to that today. Didn't get close to it yesterday. That will be Nathaniel Diprose on one of the 600cc's with a cylinder disabled, but Lee Tidman. The big thing about Lee's bike is he's a very, very capable rider, but it's just the sheer size of it. It's so small weight-wise, so where he's gaining is breaking into the corners and that. And Lee's a lightweight as well compared with the other guys on the track. So where's the letter X? Xavier, he was second yesterday. I'm pretty sure this is a bike they bought out from the UK because the Kawasaki's not strong in New Zealand in the Pro Twin class. A lot of Pro Twins. I think there's 19 Pro Twin eligible bikes out there, lower spec than the Formula 3 S3 650s, but the Kawasaki's have never really been that strong in New Zealand, except Roy Walker won a championship on one. So I'm going to have to pick that bike has come in from overseas, where the different rules over there, they can spec the bikes for their Formula 3 type of class, or the Super Twin class. I think they use them at the Isle of Man. So that's got to be a stronger bike and very, very fast. But right now the letter X is where? Back in fifth place. You got a second yesterday, Brad Ritchie.
Yeah, really nice guy. I met him yesterday. So Xavier Dennis brought a couple of bikes over. He rides in the F2 as well, so double duties for him this weekend. And great to have him over here from France. So Xavier Dennis sitting in fourth place at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on this. But Lee Tidman, classy as out of turn 14, down the front straight, stretching out that advantage. And that's a 1:36.6 he just locked in. So very, very quick pace. Ben Rosendale and SJ Cavell, that's a good little battle. We're keeping our eyes on there for the Pro Twin honours. So Ben Rosendale with the number 1 on his bike. He is defending New Zealand NZSBK Pro Twin champion. With the number 5 of SJ Cavell in there. Then we go back to Xavier Dennis in fourth place. Zach Fuller, a great start for him. He's on an SV650 twin as well. He's sitting in fifth place, so we're all on here. There's a massive, massive amount of entries. You've got Harry Parker, the first of the 300 Supersport guys coming through. Got 35 bikes circulating at the moment, Spider, and it's just absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
great to have the internationals out. I think we've got something like 24 people out with the sidecar crews. And we can see right down in pit lane is Estelle LeBlanc there, watching her fellow countryman Xavier. Every now and then I see her turn away and getting her hair ready because she's going out in the next sidecar race, and she's already had a win here, which proves she can learn new circuits quickly. And the outstanding thing about her win, it's her first visit here, but it was on a Formula 2 bike. We've seen that a little bit before, but it's good to have the French people. We've got at least 3, we've got the French sidecar team, Xavier there, and we've also got the Mr. Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, Mr. Gauvion.
Gauvion, sorry.
On the
no offence. on the Vauxhall and the Bears class. So France, it's a long time since we've had a French competitor out here, and it's great to see. And then part of that is about our Kiwis going over and mixing with these people on the internet, international scene over in Europe and that, and telling them about New Zealand road racing. I was pretty excited to meet some people in the dairy yesterday. I was getting some brown power outs for last night, and there was people on bike gear. They were English, and I said, "Oh, you're lucky you're in town for the motorbike racing." No. Adrian and Wendy come all the way out from the UK just to follow the Suzuki Series. So they hired a BMW, and it was great to see those people recognising the New Zealand Suzuki International Series, and I hope to catch up with them again sometimes over the season. They'll be at Manfield for the round 2 of the Suzuki International Series, and the final at Whanganui on Boxing Day. 2 days next weekend. Looking forward to Cormac Buchanan on the letter 12 there, the number 12 there, one of the new hotshots out of New Zealand motorcycle racing from Invercargill. He's riding what's he riding? IMD, sorry, the IM 250, which was a 125 250 class bike. Unfortunately, they've dropped that from the New Zealand Superbike Championship, so it's great to see that bike, and it's great to see Cormac coming all the way up from down in Invercargill, and the team, Dr. Steve Bagshaw, getting out there. We've got a bike off there in turn 5 there, but the person is upright, so we might even grab the binoculars and find out who they're walking to the tyre wall. So a bike off there went through the kitty litter and dropped it before the tyre wall. They are up and healthy, so they'll just be a little bit annoyed with themselves. But that is motorcycle racing. Lee Tidman comes down that long straight, number 45 on his bike, and he is sponsored by, very small font here, Jillison Contractors, Bike Talk, Peter Tidman Limited, Dave Allen Car Painters. Of course, Bike Talk is the main sponsor of the Formula 3 class. 45 goes through there. Now, in terms of lap record times, or not lap record so much, Tiddles, they call him, was running at a 36.858 yesterday, and he's now in 37s. In fact, no, he's quicker than he was yesterday, 36.619. So the rain gremlins have gone away, and Sidecar's out next. So the rain gremlins are not affecting the track at the moment. So all those people that are into religion and that, or everybody, just please pray that the rain gods stay away.
Yeah, absolutely flying at the moment. Lee Tidman, what a class act he is. We go back to Ben Rosendale. He's got a lonely old ride in second place, and SJ Cavell just barely hanging on to that podium position. He's only got a second ahead of Xavier Dennis. So the battle for the podium is definitely raging on. Zach Fuller still holding on to 5th with Richard Mark and Barrett. Matt Dunlop, good to see Matt Dunlop back. He broke his collarbone at Hampton Downs earlier on in the year, and great to see him back racing. So there we go, that's your top 7. Steve Bridge, he's on the Viarma F3 Ducati machine. That's 7th place for him. And then we've got a mention there for Jacob Stroud, our Formula 3 New Zealand champion, or Superlight champion. He's on an MT-07 Yamaha, and he's out there circulating in the top 15 at the moment. So this classy field, this F3 action brought to you by Bike Talk.
Those of you confused about us calling it Formula 3 and Superlight, the rules are identical. The Superbike Championships, New Zealand SBK, have of course the Superbike and the 600 Twin, 600 Supersport. Formula 1 and Formula 2 are sort of that class, but the bikes should be higher spec, but the Superlight and the Formula 3 are identical. The Superlights again dropped from the New Zealand Superbike Championships calendar with the lack of entries there, which actually mystifies me because we got 40 bikes entered for the Suzuki Series. They had to shut down entries for the first time, and I think I've seen in history at the cemetery circuit they were full. So, but anyway, it's not at the NZSBK. There'll be other things going on there. The first round of that is at Ruapuna on the 2nd weekend of January. Then we go down to Timaru on the 3rd weekend of January. Come to the North Island. I think the first meeting is Hampton Downs. There's a gap of 2 weeks. That's in early March. A gap of 2 weeks, they go to Manfield, and then they come to Taupo for the final round, the New Zealand Superbike Championship. But meanwhile, in front of us, the Suzuki International Series. Thank you, Suzuki, for being behind motorsport for decades. And I like it, you know, you've got to put your money in to improve a brand, but how many years did we get MotoGP put on TV? They used their buying power of their advertising, but they still had to pay to get MotoGP on TV. Do you know there wasn't even a Suzuki on the track back in those days? And that shows you the level of commitment to the sport over and above their brand recognition. So Suzuki, thank you. Good to see all the manufacturers supplying stuff. There's number 20, I think. Number 20, another Super Sport bike, Super Sport 300 bike, Shane Miller from Sanson between, or just along from Bulls. Someone out there in turn 5 as well there.
I think it might be Blake Ross. I think I haven't seen Blake come through on the timing screen. It is a white bike, so unfortunately, Blake Ross, we've got someone over there. So there's a bike right next to the track there. Hopefully we can get that sorted out. Unfortunate stuff there, but Lee Tidman, he's out of the flip-flop, out of turn 14, crosses the line. So 4 laps to go. Lee Tidman in this Bike Talk sponsored F3 action. Ben Rosendale still doing a wonderful job in second place. He is on his SV650. SJ Cavell, he's on his Pro Twin as well, and coming under increasing pressure from Xavier Dennis. So there we go up the inside. I think we might have a change of position there. Xavier's not going to quite be able to do it, but SJ just takes the line away from him. So the battle for third is on well and truly. Xavier Dennis and SJ Cavell. And then we go back in there. There's Gavin Rosendale, there's Gavin Veltmeyer's machine with Matt Dunlop on board. And then we go back, there's some Pro Twins in there as well. Great to have guys like Jace Augustine in there with Carl Hooper on SV650. Scotty Finlay's up in the top 10 as well on the pre-89 ZX400, so that's great stuff there. But with 4 laps to go, it's still anyone's, but Lee Tidman's looking pretty classy out there at the moment, Spider.
Always does, and this thing's a highly volatile motor. It looks like he's going to bring it home. Already has 26 points, 1 for qualifying fastest for the meeting, and a clean set of points for 25 for the win yesterday. So he might walk away here with 51 points. It's a healthy lead to the series. So where is Lee Tidman on the track, looking for that really little fast bike, probably the smallest bike out there. Love to see some of those. Loving seeing some of those KTM 390 bikes out there. We've got a yellow flag here at turn 1 as well. So drama aplenty with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, there's the update there. Lee Tidman still in the lead of this one. He is through the flip-flop now. Got a few lapped riders to get through there, but looks to do that all right. So the number 45 going to cross the line and have 3 laps to go. There's yellow flags almost every sector at the moment. We've got one down in turn 1, but they've self-recovered. Well done to them, and one of the marshals helping there as well. So there we go. They've cleared that scene pretty well. We've got a couple of bikes in the kitty litter down to around turn 4 and 5. But great to see we still go racing. So Lee Tidman, a massive 5.5 second advantage back to Ben Rosendale. SJ Cavell is still hanging on to 3rd place. So brilliant stuff from SJ. Xavier Dennis, our French rider there in 4th place. And then we go back to Matt Dunlop, Steve Bridge, Zach Fuller and Josh Augustine rounding out your top 8.
So just waiting for the screen to refresh. We've got a revolving screen in this class. Lee Tidman on a 1:39.1, 1:36.6. He's got this race under control. There could be lappers involved there, but certainly he knows to get ahead there and conserve this bike to get across the line. The biggest problem with that is concentration. It's concentration to find out what's going to. Rider coming along that start-finish straight, waiting to assist out. So I don't know what that's all about. Pointing to something. He might have seen something. There's a bike down there in the hairpin as well. That's probably been there for 2 or 3 laps. There's a bike down there, won't see the numbers of that, but the rider's well gone away from that. And so that's 1, 2, 3 bikes I can see lying on the track. So dramas are plenty. It's not the weather, it's not the track conditions in terms of wet, because we're now under the fastest times we had yesterday, so nothing to do with that. But all the riders are up and out of the way.
Yeah, so we've got just a little update there. We've got our 300 Supersport riders. They don't have their own class here, so they're running with the F3. And we've got guys like Harry Parker and Dave Fellows. They're running in the 300, so great stuff to have them all recognised here. We've got 2 laps to go as Lee Tidman crosses the line, so still lapping in the 1:38. We've got someone, that's Ben Rosendale. Yeah, that's Ben Rosendale.
He's up. That was out of turn 12. But he is up and running away from his bike. Looks like to be in a couple of pieces there. I think that's just the tailpiece, the yellow tailpiece falling off it. So the number 1, the Pro Twin champion in New Zealand, unfortunately sidelined. But a red flag situation. So it will be called. Again, everything we say up here is provisional, but the rule book does say if it's done 65% of its race, it will be called. But just take it as provisional at the moment. We had a 10-lap race. We had 3 laps to go. And that will be the situation in my eyes at the moment, but I'm only bringing the information I believe, so we'll have official confirmation. Now remember, anything we announced today, any results we announce are subject to a 30-minute protest time, and we don't have the